A lot of news came out for Raid yesterday. We got balance changes for a couple of champions that really just sit in the vault most of the time. We got some quality of life changes, and we have a sneak peek at our next collaboration, which kind of thought was interesting because it felt like that the Alien vs Predator collaboration was not done yet, but it looks like we're already ready for another collab inside Raid. If we take a look at this trailer right here, oh yeah, here we go. We got the Iron Twins in there, we got Turvold in there, and check it out, guys. Just watch this. Assassin's Creed coming to Raid Shadow Legends. This is pretty much all but confirmed. Not pretty much all but confirmed. This is confirmed for January 8th, which is going to be our next collaboration inside of Raid. We already have a Fusion warm-up event going on as well, so we are getting big preparations, but we're going to talk about all this stuff here today. I mean, I'm excited for Assassin's Creed coming to Raid. I mean, there's some really cool collabs going on right now, but let's quickly remind you guys that you can start your account with a free legendary, some of the best epic champions to get going on the right foot, especially as we go into 2026 here with some great collabs and some great changes coming into the game. Make sure you guys start off on the right foot by clicking that link down there in the description and getting you a brand new account with a free legendary. Before you click the link down there in the description, log out of your Polarium Play account, then click the link in the description. It'll take you to this page. Create a brand new account with a brand new email, and then complete the tutorial, and then go to your inbox, and your free legendary champion will be waiting for you in there, and then you'll get your free epics as you level up your account. Next, let's hop in and talk about some of the quality of life changes before we get to those balance changes. Gotta put the reading spectacles on here. So it changes to the background multi-battles. It says that the ultimate goal is enabled to run those while you can run arena battles. And they're almost at that point, but live arena battles will be available, but classic and tag will be unlocked later on. So they're making some great progress there. You'll also be able to sell the gear from the background multi-battles, which that was one of the most annoying things, is you would run the multi-battles in the background and then like you can't click the gear or anything. I'm clicking away and then it just goes in there. So being able to sell that is definitely going to be a good positive change. Next up, we have event dungeon challenge stages. So we're going to be getting an event dungeon with the Assassin's Creed stuff, it feels like. And on top of the event dungeon, there's going to be 5 extra challenge stages on top of the regular ones. They're not going to require any energy to access, but they will be harder. And instead of like the typical loot, they're going to give one-time rewards for completing these epics or these challenge stages, which I don't mind that at all. I think that's really positive. I mean, especially with like crafting materials and stuff, I think that's going to be good. The Coalition event will be returning here with the Assassin's Creed stuff, with a couple of upgraded changes to that, allowing you to like check out the players and turn counters of it to the event dungeon, Hydra, all that kind of great stuff. So positive changes there for this event coming back. And then some various miscellaneous changes here. Short cooldowns on siege actions, such as editing, deleting traps, removing defense teams. Just to address, there's a bug that was going on with that. The remove and sell buttons for the gear tab are going to be differently colored to make it visually obvious, which I don't mind that. We'll add options to use duplicate as well as the specifically designated champions to empower champions. So like for the turtles, for instance, you can use duplicate turtles if you do get them. So that's going to be nice. Faction champions, counters in the index menu will display the number of unlocked champions, whether or not they're currently present in the collection. And then we get to the champions being rebalanced. We have Roxum being rebalanced, and then we have Solus being rebalanced. 2 champions I have and I don't use. And Roxum I'm kind of excited about because I have Roxum, I believe, on the free-to-play account and just never used. Or maybe, no, I think I had Roxum on a free-to-play account that I kind of threw away because Roxum was so bad, but Roxum is getting some big changes. Let's check it out. All right, so let's make it a little bit bigger here. So on the A1, attacks one enemy, 50% chance of filling this turn meter, 10% also a 50% chance of placing perfect veil on this buff, which Roxum is a chameleon, needs a lot of veils, kind of necessary, but that's gonna get changed to attacks one enemy, fills this turn meter by 10%. So not a 50% chance, it will automatically fill the turn meter by 10%. And then places perfect veil on this champion for 1 turn if the attack is critical, which Roxum should have a critical attack. If this champion's under veil, perfect veil buff, fills the turn meter by 20%, and then also is going to increase the damage multiplier. So increasing the turn meter, getting more damage on there on the A1, I think that's really, really positive. Here on the A2, attacks one enemy, fills this champion's turn meter by 50%, has 75% chance placing stun debuff on the target for 1 turn when under Veil or Perfect Veil, 75% chance placing sleep when Veil, Perfect Veil, places Perfect Veil on this champion for 2 turns if they're attacking without a Veil or Perfect Veil. This will ignore shield, strengthen, and unkillable, and then the damage multiplier is increased. I think this is a big change. Like, this kind of makes Roxum, in my opinion, it feels like more viable for arena. I mean, unkillable, strengthen, like these are definitely annoying things in the arena, not to mention that we have the damage multiplier increase. Still single target on there. I like those changes completely for the arena. On the A3, while under a Veil, Perfect Veil, attacks all enemies before attacking, 75% chance of placing a 60% decrease defense and a 25% weaken. So before attacking, places those, decreases the cooldown of Jungle Ambush, which is the A2, by 2 turns, and then will ignore block debuffs, shields, and strengthen. So it's going to place that decreased defense and that weaken, even if they have block debuffs, shield, strengthen, all that kind of stuff up, which is really, really nice. And then the damage multiplier is increased on that as well. I mean, it's going to be so good, but that's if he's under the Veil, right? While under the Veil, Perfect Veil. If he's not under it, he still does the attack 1, but you want him under that Veil. That's the big thing. His passive is getting a change as well. Places block debuffs and 50% increased attack buff from this champion for 1 turn and continuous heal whenever they receive Veil or Perfect Veil. Places a protected Veil buff for Perfect Veil on this champion for 1 turn whenever an enemy receives a buff from skills. So if an enemy goes first, receives a buff, he gets his Veil, which he needs for all the other stuff. If the target's max HP is higher than his, we'll ignore 15% of their defense. If the target's HP is more than double, we'll ignore 30% instead. So positive stuff there. Also goes to ally crit rate in all battles and increases his speed by 5. So I think this makes Roxum a little bit more usable in arena situations. I mean, that's the first place my mind goes with, like, ignoring the block debuff, shield, strengthen, ignoring the strengthen, unkillable. I'm really interested to see how Roxum's going to be used. And then we have Solus. He's a Void legendary who he used to be all right. He just doesn't get a lot of play these days, in my opinion. So on the A1, attacks one enemy, 35% chance to place in a stun. Will ignore 30% of the target's defense if they're under provoke, and then his damage multiplier is increased. So gonna ignore defense if they're under provoke, which he has provoke in his kit. On the A2, attacks all enemies, each hit has 75% chance to remove all buffs. That is nice because that used to be hit 3 times at random. Now it's going to hit all enemies. That's going to be really, really nice. 75% chance to place in a 50% decrease attack and a Hex debuff on there as well. Damage multiplier increase. I mean, normally when we see Hex goes with Hydra, right? Because we need Hex on the Head of Mischief to be able to target him. So especially with the AoE there, kind of leans into like Hydra, but I don't even mind this other areas as well. Feels like a nice little PvE thing here. Attacks all enemies, increases duration of all debuffs on each target by 1 turn, and then places provoke for 1 turn. So this is where you get your provoke. Also places a shield on all allies for 2 turns equal to 30% of the damage inflicted, and a counter attack on him for 2 turns, which that's pretty nice. And then he attacks all enemies with the Ascendant with the provoke, and then the shield on all allies for 2 turns equal to 30% of the damage, and counterattack buff on this champion for 2 turns. Damage increased by 10% for each debuff on the target. So yeah, just getting that up really nice. The shield, the counterattack on there, I like that quite a bit. And then he actually gains a passive. I didn't even realize he doesn't have a passive. We'll ignore 30% of the target's resistance and target's defense. If the target's defense is lower than this champion's, which he's a defense-based champion, most are going to be, allies deal 25% more damage to the targets under provoke placed by him. And there's multiple champions, only activates once. And then he goes from faction crypts to defense in all battles. So Solus, it feels like kind of helps in some PvE areas, especially like, it definitely feels like Hydra. Anytime I see like Hex, I immediately think Hydra, especially decreased attack in there kind of makes me think bosses. The provoke, the counter attack, I think that's going to be really nice for Hydra. I don't know. I mean, maybe he can be used PvP as well, but the attack all enemies and the provokes in there, it's just, there's a lot of like things to block those debuffs. So I think Solus, I mean, he can already hit pretty hard. Moving him into PvE could be a really nice thing here. I don't know. What do you guys think of these 2 buffs? I feel like Roxum definitely goes PvP. I mean, these are definitely PvP changes. Solus, I think, can maybe be a little bit of PvP, but I think it's going to be more PvE. I'm going to be trying him in Hydra personally. maybe on one of my other teams. I don't even know. Like, it doesn't feel that bad. Like, it feels like he can smack pretty hard. Kind of curious to see how Soulless is going to look in some of those areas. But I know my Soulless has been in the vault, just kind of sitting there. I mean, he has accessories on him, but he doesn't have much. I don't have him booked. Will it be finally time to bring Soulless out of the vault? And then I believe we have Roxham as well. Yeah, Roxham, I don't even have leveled up because Roxham was so bad. Like, Roxham's still 5-star. Might be time to commit to Roxham as well. Let me know you guys' thoughts on these changes. I know I'm a little bit late. I'm always late to the news, but better late than never, right, guys? I'm excited for the Assassin's Creed stuff. See what that brings. Make sure you guys check out the link down there in the description. Leave a like, subscribe. I'll see you guys on the next one.